Alright, so the last video was a very simple point that I spent like 26 minutes driving home. So this time I need to pee pretty badly, so this should be a bit shorter. I should get to the point faster. I would highly recommend that you start making these videos as well, because for like me, I'm not expecting to get like any views for I don't even know how long, like a year probably before I start getting any views, not like 1,000 views even. I was gonna say like 110,000 views, but not even 8,000 views. Just any views. I'm not expecting to get any views for a long time. I just enjoy making these videos. I honestly do. I really enjoy. It helps me to get these thoughts out here into words. It helps me like. It's just like I speak to my brother a lot about random things. Like a thought will cross my mind, and I'm like, "Hey, what do you think about this?" And then we'll go into a 2 hour long discussion about it because it helps me to process things, to just get them out there and into words. And like I'm in a conversation with someone now, and it's not like, oh, I've got all day to think about this. It's like he's got stuff to do, so I need to think about this now and really think about it because we've got like 20 minutes to talk or whatever. And obviously, it's a camera, you're not another person's got your own stuff to do, but I mean, in a sense, that you are. Whoever's watching these videos, whoever watches them in the future, is another person that has other stuff to do, and so I am trying to get the point out quickly. So it just helps me to process thoughts, and putting it into words helps me as well. And I would imagine that I'm not different than most people, so it probably will help you as well. I would highly recommend it for that reason. I'd also highly recommend it because if you're really planning on being big on social media or successful in life in general, if you're planning on being on social media at all at any point in time, then yeah, the videos are going to be horrible. That's the point. They're going to be like terrible, but they're there. So if you do blow up, or when you do blow up, they're there for people to go back and watch. If you watch Hampton's earliest videos, they got like 56,000 views. I guarantee you, or Iman's, I'm sure, have a lot too. Anybody that's really big now, I'm sure their old videos have a lot of views because no, they didn't get them at the time. They probably got zilch for views at the time, but you get big and people go out back and watch your old content. And because they're interested in it, they want to see what you were like back then, and especially if they're interested in starting content now. Like if I inspire someone to start making content in 3 years, 5 years, whatever, they're gonna want to go back and watch, hopefully at least, because that's a good thing to do. I think is they're gonna want to go back and watch my earliest content to see what I was like on camera, what I talked about in the first days that I started posting stuff. So it's good to just have those videos out there for other people to see. Also, just document your life. Like, I'm teaching some just because I enjoy it, but it's also me getting my own thoughts out there still. But you're really just documenting your life, man. Just talk about, like, if you don't know what to talk about, just talk about what you did yesterday, what lesson you learned. And I would actually highly recommend that, because then as you go throughout each day, you're going to be thinking throughout the day, what lesson can I learn today that I can talk about tomorrow? And that's why I would also recommend recording videos each and every day. Even if you don't post all of them, even if you only pick one a week and post that, then just record a video every day and talk about what you learned the past day. Or record a video at the end of the day and talk about what you learned that day. So that as you go, it's the same thing as gratitude journaling. It's like, the point in it is not to sit down and think for 10 minutes on what you're grateful for that day. The point of it is so that as you go throughout your day, you will be trying to find things to be grateful for, so that you have something read about you in your journal at the end of the day. It's the same point with this. Like, record a video at the end of each day or at the beginning of each day for me. And so as you're going throughout your day, you'll be looking for a lesson that you can, document. Something big that you can, or like big, but something that you can talk about in your video the next day or at the end of the day, whatever. So yeah, there's a lot of reasons that I would highly recommend just posting every day. It helps build a lot of character, I think, especially if you're posting each day about, you know, what lesson you learned yesterday, which that's just an idea I had here talking to the camera, so I can't think of a lesson that I learned yesterday, but let's see. There's a really good podcast that just came out yesterday by Alex Ramosi and Chris Williamson, the Chris Williamson podcast, Modern Wisdom. Highly recommend you go watch that. It's like 3 hours and 15 minutes, I think. Really good podcast, like one of the best I've listened to, and I've listened to a lot. If I had my notes app, which is on my phone, then I would find something that I wrote down yesterday from that. But one of the things that I can think of from it is you don't have to take insults as insults. Like, just think of them like objectively, and sometimes it's like it's just an insult and you can't really take it any other way, but even then you don't have to care about it. But if somebody, I don't know, the only example I can think of is Alex Ramosi and his wife were walking down the street, and you've probably heard the story by now, but Alex Ramosi and his wife were walking down the street, and somebody bumped into his wife and said, like, watch it, skinny bitch, or whatever. And, you know, sorry to curse, but here, I'll cut that out. Alex Ramosi and his wife were walking down the street, and someone bumped into his wife and said, watch a skinny chick. And she came back up to him, and he was like separated on the sidewalk at the time, but she came back up to him and like told him what just happened. And he was like, you just called me skinny, and like took that as a compliment. Like, he obviously meant it as an insult, but it can be taken as a compliment, so why not? So there's a lesson that I got yesterday, and you know, I just had this idea to start documenting lessons now. So I wasn't even thinking about that yesterday. That's just something I thought about right now that I learned yesterday. But that's kind of the point, is like, if you record a video each day then about a lesson that you learned that day or the day prior, then you'll be going throughout each day thinking, like, what is a lesson that I can take away from this? And there's so much growth in that, because yeah, maybe one life lesson won't change you, but 365 of them, that's a lot of lessons. So yeah, there's that. And then also, don't expect any growth from it for a long time. I do expect this to be making me money at some point, getting to a lot of people at some point, and I'll, you know, make a paid community or something of the sort, sell some courses, whatever, sell one-on-one coaching maybe, but I don't expect that to be for 3 years. I'm not doing this currently for the money. I'm currently doing this honestly for me, like pretty much entirely for me. I want to get the content out there so that somebody discovers it. Maybe it helps somebody. Hopefully it helps somebody. But also so that it's there when I do blow up at some point, because I plan on it at some point in time. But I don't have the life experience to really blow up right now. And that's another thing I want to talk about today is go out there and do some cool stuff, bro. I've never done anything. That's why I don't expect anyone to watch this, because it's like, why would you listen to me? I can't think of a single reason anyone would listen to me right now, which is why I don't expect any views. I don't have an insane physique. I don't have a lot of money. I can't think of any one big thing that I've done in my life. Like, there's nothing big that I've done before. And I'm willing to bet that it's the same for a lot of you. So go out there and do something big. It doesn't even have to be something like big, but like something that you can, something that seems big, something that develops you a lot as a person, one singular thing that develops you a lot as a person, so that at the end of it, or at the end of multiple things, you have stories to tell, have good stories to tell, and you've developed a lot as a person to where people like actually want to listen to you. That's why Hams is so big, because if you go back and look at his earliest videos or pictures he has of when he was a kid, like 13, 14 and under, probably, I don't know, somewhere around that age, he looks like a total degenerate, and I'm sure he was, but then he started posting videos in his like mid-20s, and he had an amazing physique and had slept with all these girls and whatnot, and had all these experiences that people valued. And he actually was like a man, at least, something of the sort, when he started posting, or when he started blowing up, at least. So, yeah, don't expect to be posting these videos documenting your life when your life isn't that interesting, and you're just not that interesting, man. I would absolutely still recommend documenting them, because I'm doing that, and I think it's helping me a lot. But don't expect anything from it for years to come. And as much, I would say, as you value money, go out there and do cool stuff. Like, I'm running a business currently. I'm running on a detailing business, helping my brother run it. He's mostly the one running it. I'm doing this, and then editing the videos a little bit. And we're trying to start up some courses and whatnot for detailing. And as soon as I can start making some money online so that I can be doing stuff on the road, I want to go, I want to travel in some form that's not a car or train or plane from the west coast of America to the east. I want to go from California to Georgia. I kind of want to walk it, maybe bike it, but something other than traveling by car, train, or plane. And I mean, maybe I don't do that. Maybe I just walk, from one state to another. It's still quite a journey. But I don't know, man. There's so much you can do too. You can go to the biggest hotels, whatever, biggest, like, nicest buildings in your city for 100 days and try and find the wealthiest person there and ask him for life advice and lessons. And at the end of it, you've got maybe 50 of them, maybe half of them said yes, maybe it's only 20 or 30, but then you can make a video on, I asked 30 millionaires what their advice to my 15-year-old self would be. 17, I mean, I'm currently 17, your 17-year-old self. That's a really cool video that you might actually get some views on. Is I asked, let's say, 30 millionaires what their advice to me would be, and here's the advice. You could go join a fight gym and document your journey in fighting, or go to some distant country and actually do a fight camp where you sleep in the gym. I'm pretty sure that's how it works, at least I don't know. Or where you sleep in the gym and practice all day, every day fighting. Do that for 3 months, do your first fight, and say, make a video on that. I trained for 3 months and then did my first fight, and here's how it went. Doesn't matter if you win or not, but go climb the biggest mountain that you can think of. Climb a range of mountains. Go, if you live in the US, there's, I don't think it's the Rockies. I forget the name, but there's a group of, or a range of mountains that takes a few weeks to travel, I think, or maybe months even. Somewhere around Georgia and Tennessee, I think. I'm really bad with geography. Don't judge me, but go travel that. There's some really cool stuff that you can do that would build a lot of character, and why not do it, man? Get some cool life stories, because it's really cool to say, I'm on self-improvement, I'm a Christian, I'm on my walk with God, but I don't know, going about a normal life seems boring to me, and that's why I got such large ambitions to be, a multi-millionaire, possibly centimillionaire or more by the end of my life. Who knows? But I'll see where journey takes me. But that's why I'm so interested in business and self-improvement and whatnot, because it's a really interesting life to live, at least compared to most people. If I could be a swordsman in a war and be some really cool swordsman or something, I absolutely would be. And at some point in my life, I plan to actually learn some amount of sword fighting, but just not we're not in Sparta anymore. Our military is much more advanced than that, and I don't really have an interest in going out in gunfights. But those dreams that you had as a kid, why did you let those go? And like, yeah, maybe it's like, maybe you have dreams of being in some fantasy world or something with magic and whatnot, and like, obviously, don't try and go do magic, but I don't know, those dreams that you had, you can scale them down a bit maybe, but like, if you dreamed of being an amazing fighter, then go join a Muay Thai gym and learn how to fight, MMA, whatever. If you dreamed of traveling the world, then go do that. And maybe you need a bit of money first. Maybe you can start some online community or business or whatever, some sort of online business, and do that while you're traveling the world. Because obviously, when you were a kid, you didn't think about finances in dreams. But honestly, a lot of your dreams, a lot of your like things that you dreamed about doing, at least as a kid, don't require that much finances. Some of them do, absolutely, but a lot of them don't. Not a ridiculous amount, at least. It's like, go do that cool stuff. Get some stories out of it. Get some experience, some life experience out of it. Get some stuff to talk about and some growth as a person. And that's why I want to do something physical as well. Like, I guess all of it's physical, but I don't want to go join a fight gym and do that type of thing that I talked about. At least not yet. At some point, I do kind of want to do that, honestly, but I don't know. I'm not there yet. I'm not at that place. But I would love to spend 4 months and walk across west to east coast in America, or bike it maybe. I mean, I looked it up, and walking it takes like 37 days of actual walking time. So it would take like 4 months in actual time, considering you're gonna take some days off here and there where you're like, your feet are getting like blistered and whatnot, and you need to give them a rest for a day or two, or you're sleeping 8 hours a day. But that's like 37 actual days of walking time. Like 24 hours is 1 day of walking time, and that's 37 of them. So that would take like 4 months or more. But biking takes like 9 days, so that would take like a month in total. But I've just never been a huge biker, so who knows. But like, go out there and do some cool stuff, man. Get some stories from it. Grow as a person. And document all of it, because I'm sitting here through this video and thinking how awkward I am on camera, and I hate it. But the only way to change that is to just keep making videos and documenting it. I'll get better on camera eventually. Also, my phone has 3 cameras, and I don't know which one to be looking at, so if I'm like slightly not looking directly at you, I apologize. I'm just looking at the middle one and hoping that that's good enough, or that's the right camera. But I plan on being a big influencer someday, and I would love to meet up with some of you and hear about your amazing stories. I'd love to meet up with you at some point, and you have this cool story of, hey, I spent 3 months, I didn't know fighting at all, and I went and joined a fighting camp, and in 3 months I joined my first like professional fight, and I won it, or I lost it, and here's what I learned from the loss, or I just went and hiked Mount Everest, or I don't think it's not Guadalupe. That's probably really wrong. It doesn't make any sense. But there's some mountain climb that is, I don't think it's taller than Mount Everest, but it's like, I don't know. My oldest brother's really big into hiking mountains specifically, and I've heard that there's one other in like South Africa or something, one other mountain that is known as like being harder than Everest. Like, Everest is a really populous like tourist attraction at this point. Like, obviously it still takes a lot of skill to hike up Mount Everest, but you've got like all these waypoints and whatnot, like in enclosed buildings up Mount Everest, and you can pay for like actual guides and like oxygen masks the whole time. I think you actually kind of need oxygen masks, but there's another mountain that's like known for being like the hardest in the world to climb, and it's not Everest, but go climb that or do something smaller, but go climb some mountain that's like really challenging, or a bunch of mountains, or just travel a range of mountains for a few weeks, few months, whatever. walk across your whole country, which for me is the US, and it's a really big task, but I would love to do that. Like, that's obviously sounds miserable. I know that it is going to be miserable, but I love doing challenging crap and growing as a person. Like, I learned a little while ago to just praise God in the storm. Like, it doesn't matter what I go through now. I really can't have a bad day, because objectively I can have a bad day. Let's say a family member dies. Like, that's objectively a bad day. But if I learn some lessons from it somehow and grow from it, I'm not going to say objectively that's a good day, but like the point is that like hardships that you go through, you can see that as a good thing. Like, in the moment it sucks, it feels miserable, you go through a depression and like it feels horrible, you don't know what to do with your life, you don't want to kill yourself, but you don't want to live, like you have no idea what your purpose here in life is, you don't know what to do with your life, girl cheated on you, broke your heart, whatever. Like, it feels horrible at the time, but if you at the time are looking for lessons to take away, then it makes it a lot easier, and in a weird, possibly sick kind of way, it makes it a little bit enjoyable. Like, if you've ever done a cold plunge before, it feels miserable, absolutely. But if you think about how good it's going to feel afterwards and how good you're going to feel for the rest of the day knowing that you did the cold plunge today, it's like you have a weird sense of enjoyment while you're doing it even. Like, it's not just after you get out of it, you feel great, but even while you're in it, knowing that you did this, and the longer you stay in, the better you're going to feel about yourself. Like, there's all these different kind of delayed gratification things, I guess, but like there's the stuff that you get out of it if you look for it. That it's like, yes, I'm miserable, but I can tell that it's changing me. I'm growing from it to some small extent. And if you just look for that stuff in any aspect of life, then it helps a lot, man. When you wake up and you're nauseous and you go to the gym anyways, and you're at the gym and you're pushing yourself to failure still, and it feels horrible, and it's leg day. I'm using this as an example today. I woke up nauseous this morning. And I'm like, man, I really don't want to go to the gym. And then I realized, oh crap, it's leg day, and I really don't want to do leg day. But I went to the gym anyways, and I was nauseous the whole time, and I pushed myself to failure, and it felt horrible. And as I'm sitting here in so much misery, I'm nauseous, and I'm doing leg extensions, and it hurts like something. And it hurts so bad, and I'm nauseous, I'm getting more nauseous, and my muscles are like cramping up at this point, and there's a smile on my face, because as I'm sitting here like wreathing, it's not the right word, seething, that's also not the right word, writhing, I don't know, as I'm sitting here like, I want to find the word now, let's say basking. I'm sitting here basking in my misery, and then I'm like, I'm actually basking in it. Like, I'm smiling, and then I realize that how miserable I am, and God has put all these things. Like, I started going to the gym. Okay, cool. God got this from God's perspective. I was like, okay, cool. Now, what if you wake up nauseous? And what if it's leg day? And I know you hate doing leg day, so what about that? And then you go to the gym anyways, and you not only go to the gym, but you push yourself really hard, harder than you do other days. And then you go do abs as well, and you do some neck training. Like, you go over the top today. And now you feel great. And you actually grew some. Maybe not any measurable extent, but you grew some. Then that 0.1% every single day is like 36.5%, I think, something like it. That would make sense. Like, all these all these points of misery in your life, man. I'm not saying that you should stay in misery for any sick reason, but when you are in misery, there's stuff you can get out of that. And even when you're at the point where you're nauseous at the gym and your legs hurt and you're tired and you've got a little bit of a headache going on and you're hungry because you haven't eaten yet, and then you think, man, I'm so miserable right now and I'm still doing the hard work. And it puts a smile on your face. It does, man. Every time I think about that to myself at the gym, because the gym's like a point where it comes a lot, where any time that I'm like off, I don't want to go to the gym, and I go anyways, and I always, anytime I get in the gym when I'm feeling particularly bad, I push myself so much harder because I look for those moments and those opportunities of growth. And like, I'm in so much misery physically, but I've just got a smile on my face because I know how much I'm growing. Just look for that stuff, man. And hey, maybe that's my lesson for today that I can pass on. Well, I said it was going to be shorter, but it's probably not. Yeah, here's your stuff for today, man. Record, you'll get better on camera, document your life. So you've got this stuff to look back on, and maybe other people do if you blow up someday, and you grow from it. It helps getting your thoughts out into words and reflecting some. Go do some cool stuff. Do some really cool stuff. Have cool stories to tell, because I mean, at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is worshiping God and praising Him and bringing others to Him. Because you live that type of life, and you give yourself to God, and you'll have eternal life in heaven. And this very temporary life won't matter. But while you're in this temporary life that feels like it lasts forever, enjoy it, because it doesn't. Do cool stuff with it, because maybe all heaven is praising God, and it sounds boring, but we don't have brains in heaven, it's just our souls. Maybe it's entirely different, and maybe you won't have the opportunity to go hike a mountain or hike the US. And yeah, sure, at the end of the day, maybe it doesn't matter, but at the end of the day, maybe it does. And I would say that's a lot better than the other stuff you're going to be doing with your life, playing games and whatnot. So, what's the harm in it? I don't know, it's just 2 cents from some 17-year-olds. Man, I meant to think about some, like, outro things, some, like, Bible verse or something, but I don't know. Have you praised God today? Have you prayed today, even? Have you told anyone about God today? Have a good one.